Welcome back to the WTF podcast. I got a special guest for y'all, Paula. How you doing, Paula?
Pretty good.
Pretty good?
Well,
I'm excited to get you on. Thank you for doing this. I know you're a busy lady. You're always
welcome.
doing stuff. So I appreciate you for doing this. I got a little bit of questions, if you don't mind. I'm sure we already talked about it, but I always tell my guests, act like the cameras aren't even on. Just like having a regular conversation like we were having before.
Okay.
So just started off the usual. Like how's life been treating you now? Like what do you do for a living? Like what are some of your hobbies?
So life has been lifing for everybody currently,
I
but
agree.
we making the best of it. As far as what I do for a hobby, travel, gym, read, music, and trying to build my. Oh, should look over here. Should we
No,
start
it's
over?
okay.
Okay.
Either or doesn't matter.
Okay. And try to build my social media platform.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's right. You started one recently, huh?
Yeah, I started a new IG.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as far as professionalism, I'm in healthcare,
Oh, really?
specifically mental health.
Okay, awesome. No, really, that's awesome. So, like, you're not like a therapist or anything. You're just.
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay, cool. That's cool. So this setting you're kind of used to this kind of setting. Then this that one-on-one. You know what I mean with patients.
But
and
it's
stuff.
not. Well, I want to say your thing is stage.
Yeah.
It's a little different.
Yeah. Oh, definitely a little different. Definitely a little different from this. But so how long have you been
I've been in the mental health for over 10 years.
Over 10 years, nice. Thanks. So you've definitely got a lot of experience in that kind of field. Then that's awesome. I didn't know that, so that's new. That's new knowledge to me. That's cool. So like you go to the gym recently. Is that what your IG kind of is like focused around?
My IG is all about holistic health.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's it's a composure of mental, physical, spiritual, emotional, and giving tools for handling and navigating everyday stressors.
Wow, that's awesome. So no one. Okay, now I get why it's kind of has that like that. That's basically going to be a success no matter what, because I feel like a lot of people, especially nowadays, and people like my age, they look for that kind of like knowledge. You know what I mean? Like, because I mean,
gym is you guys' new hangout now,
right?
Because malls are dying.
Yes.
You all too broke to go and vacation. And you can only social media this much before it gets boring.
No, for sure.
Yeah. So I noticed there's a lot of young people in the gym.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I didn't even really notice that. For me, I don't really go out to the gym as much as I should. I usually do like if I do like anything physical, it's like at home, like a little calisthenics.
It's still working out.
Yeah.
Even though I keep saying the gym, I have a home gym as well, because I don't always want to drive cross town to go to the gym. So we have a home gym based in the garage.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
As well. So yeah,
that's awesome.
But
so I guess I was gonna get into like how was growing up for you? You don't have to get too crazy into detail, but how was it like growing up? Where are you from?
So succinctly, growing up for me I was originally born in Jamaica.
Oh, okay.
But I grew up going back and forth between Jamaica and New York City.
Oh, okay.
Because my dad's Canadian, my mom lived in New York.
Oh, wow.
So I went back and forth. So people always say, you have an accent. When was the first time you came to the U.S.? I don't know.
Yeah.
Right? Because I do know for a short period of time when I was younger, we reside in the Cayman Island. But I don't have a lot of memory of that.
Right.
And I don't know not being in the U.S. Back and forth. I don't know.
Yeah. So. Well, that's okay. No, that's fine. That's valid. I think it's awesome. I've had a lot of people on the podcast who aren't really from here. And it's like what's going on in the world, right? So I'm so happy I have you on, because you're from, you've been to a lot of places, and you can have like just have a different perspective on life, if you will, So that's why I'm really excited to get you on and get that perspective on, because it's just like, or not only just on but documented, because I think it's really cool and kind of special. So no, that's awesome. What were you in? Like, what kind of music were you into growing up? What did you kind of do growing up? Because I don't know. I don't know if you've always been like super successful, if you will, but.
So I'm the youngest of all the kids.
Okay.
And there's something about being the younger one where you're the youngest from a bunch of children. So it makes you. I've always been somewhat like of a serious person that knew what I wanted to do
Yeah.
from an early age,
Mm-hmm.
even though there has been bumps in the road and life isn't always how you planned it, but it never derailed me from my plans. So
Mm-hmm.
growing up, I listened to reggae music. I'm Jamaican, so I'm going to be into reggae. I'm going to be into dancehall. Uh, I wasn't into hip hop and all that stuff.
Okay. In New York is wild. New York, I bet, was going crazy with the hip hop.
New York, yeah, people be on the street side like Box Bobby or whatever they call it, where they're
Yeah.
like dancing and stuff. And
Uh-huh.
that was back in the days when New York was New York, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, but I've always been grounded in my culture. That's one thing I have to thank my parents for. I'm super grounded in my culture, even though I had a lot of experience. I got to travel the world growing up, but I was very grounded in the Jamaican culture.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah.
That's awesome. Cool.
Life started out, my
Um.
life has been a weird thing where I know the best of life,
Mhm.
but I also know the struggle.
Yes.
So it gave me somewhat of equilibrium and somewhat where I'm super flexible
Mhm.
mentally and um, emotionally, where I can kind of empathize with people. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter what level you are, I can flex my ability
Mm.
to communicate and just get where you're at. Because
Right.
growing up, yes, it started out beautiful,
Mhm.
where my mom was a business person, my
Mm.
stepdad did what he did, my dad was over in Canada at work. I lacked nothing. Went
Mhm.
to great school, did all the wonderful stuff,
Yeah.
but there was also trauma that
Oh,
was
okay.
involved.
Yeah.
Not going to get into that.
Yeah. No, you don't
And
have
then
to.
I was also a teenage mom.
Mm.
So I
That's
went
right.
from having a maid, a babysitter, people waiting on me, traveling everywhere, going all over,
Mm.
to holy crap, I'm responsible for two lives.
Right. No, that's crazy.
And I can't even take care of me, right?
Right.
Right? So I had to grow up fast. I had to grow up quick. People switched on me. People
Mm.
that were like, oh, whatever, you were going to
Mhm.
be so great. Where all of a sudden, oh, you're a disappointment now. Not
Right.
only one, you have two now, right?
Yes.
So I had to learn. I had to rewire my brain and
Right.
make sure that my kids had a great life.
And that kind of gets into like what I was just gonna ask you.
Mhm.
Like, do you think hardship is good for the soul? You know, like, because you kind of mentioned it before. You know, you had everything, and then now life is really hard. Do you think, like, fast forwarding to now, it's like, that's a good thing?
Not necessarily,
Oh, okay.
because hardship can bring, yes, some people can survive it
Mm.
because I had a decent foundation
Mm-hmm.
where I had love. I was showing,
Yeah.
economical stability and all that
Uh
stuff.
huh.
So even when things got hard, I still had a decent foundation
Mm.
that I knew life isn't supposed to be this way,
Right.
right? I can work through it. But for some people, it's super traumatic. It rewires the brain. It disrupts the neurons. It disrupts the executive functioning.
Mm.
And that's how mental health is triggered.
Right.
And not everybody can cope with that. And not
Mm-hmm.
everybody can overcome that.
Okay. Okay. That's a good question I wanted to ask, just
Mhm.
because you know, that's kind of your field, so that's dope. And then another, it kind of gets into the next question. It's like, I'm sure you have a good answer to this. Like, what's for you? Like, what's the difference between work ethic versus talent?
I think everybody's talented.
Really? Okay.
I just don't think everybody has great work ethic.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And you need both.
Mm.
Like, you could be the most talented person on planet Earth. If you don't have the work ethic, you won't be successful.
Okay. Yeah.
I would take somebody with a good work ethic over somebody that's talented, because talent can be built.
Right. Okay. Cool. No,
Yeah.
that's that. All right. That's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Um. Let's see. So I mean, what kind of? How long have you kind of been like into? I guess you already mentioned it. Like you said, 10 years, like into the health, into like all the health stuff. Have you always been like into the gym and all that?
So the gym is new. The
Oh, okay.
gym.
Cool.
So I was like two, like 260 something pounds.
Oh wow! What?
Yes, I was big. I was a big girl.
Okay. Cool.
All of that came because stress.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
The job was stressful. Life was life was lifing. It was lifing. And my coping mechanism was eating.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I would eat my stress because I am not the type that I'm not gonna go call up somebody and complain about what's going on.
Right.
I am the person people come to with their issue.
Yes.
I don't go to people with my issues.
Mm.
So I would just eat my issues away, work my issues away. At one point, I was working 3 jobs.
Oh, wow.
Yes. There was no need for it, but I was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So I gained a lot of weight. But the weight, I started having physiological issues. So I started breaking out into hives, started having skin issue.
Yeah.
And the allergist, the PCP, nobody could tell me what was going on. And I'm into healthcare. I work with some of the greatest doctors in Idaho.
Right.
Right at my fingertip that I can go talk to. They're colleagues.
Yeah.
So I know
awesome.
I was getting good health care. I was getting good care.
Yes.
But it wasn't fixing what was wrong. But being in the mental health field, I already knew what was wrong. When sometimes psychological thing comes out in a psychosomatic way, and it can cause physiological issues.
Yes. Okay.
With everything else that was going on, my body started attacking itself, and I started having gut issue. So having the tools that I have and being aware of what was going on and knowing that my neurons were not firing the way they needed to be fired, I needed to take care of it. Exercise, I do know, it increased dopamine.
Yeah.
So it will combat the depression that I was feeling because I was stressed to the point where I was dealing with depression, straight up dealing with depression. I knew what it was. I could identify.
Yeah.
And I knew this was one of the tools. I knew it wasn't bad enough for me to take medication. There was no need for it. But I also knew my hyperthyroidism was playing a role.
Yeah.
And having hyperthyroidism also causes depression by itself. So being excessively stressed and having a lot of environmental stressors is stressing out my thyroid even more.
It's like a 3x, 4x multiplier for real.
Yes. So I developed my own program. It's called the R.G.T program, and I started following it. Right. That's one of the great things being in my field. You have the medical piece where you work with your colleagues, you know what you're doing. You have the psychological piece. So a lot of people fail at working out because they have a goal. If they don't get to the goal by a certain time, they don't have the mental capacity to keep going. Right? So they'll stop. Or they get to the goal, they don't have the mental capacity to keep on with the transformation.
Right.
Right? As soon as life change, they're back to bad habits. Because guess what? They never broke the pattern that they have. I knew there was a pattern. I'm well aware of that. So caught the pattern, make sure I didn't just change it physiologically. I went from a mental standpoint and make sure I relearn. I made sure I grew from where I was. And when the transformation came, that's how I'm going to be able to keep up with it.
Right.
Right. So the gym is part of my therapy, but I also know I have to take care of my mental health as well.
Yeah.
And
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. And then now that you mention it, I mean, a lot of people, I guess a lot of Americans, I wouldn't say people, but a lot of Americans probably struggle with hyperthyroidism and they don't even know it. You know what I mean?
Because the first couple of times I tested that my thyroid was okay. But I knew my body, I knew something was wrong.
Yeah. Right.
And when you're into mental health, thyroidism is an issue. We know that thyroidism can mimic mental health issues, so severe depression and all that stuff. So that's always something that we always tell patients or clients to check for.
Yeah.
So when I tested the first couple of times, I said, no, something is wrong. I'm gaining weight too fast. I'm having gut issue. I'm breaking out into hives. I'm swelling up. Like things that I'm not allergic to.
Yeah.
I started being allergic to it.
Okay, that's wild.
Yeah.
Dang.
So I had really bad gut issue. So I was like, I need to reset my gut. I need to lose this weight. I need to get my depression under control, so it stops stressing out my thyroid, and only you can take care of you.
Yeah.
You could have the best docs on planet Earth, only you can take care of you.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome advice. I was just gonna say, hey, assistant, could I get some water over here? Or might have to do a quick cut. I had to get some water. I was getting thirsty, but I was gonna say you can jump back into being. Is there any advice you can give like young mothers out there? You know, since I remember you mentioned a little bit earlier. You know, you're a young mother. What kind of advice? Because I've had a young mom on my podcast too. So what kind of advice would you give them?
So my advice for a young mother is have an aspiration, have long-term, short-term goals, and know that you're not always going to have control on your environment and what life has to offer, but that should not derail you from your short-term, long-term goals or your aspiration. Stick to your aspiration. You might change certain things, if you had an aspiration to be a hairstylist, maybe 3 years down the line you don't want to work for somebody, but you actually want to own your own business, but you want to own your business still being a hairstylist. So you haven't derailed from your aspiration. You just have bigger plans. But a child doesn't stop you from becoming the best version of yourself.
Awesome. No, that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Um, that's huge. I think that's huge too, because I see a lot of younger people. Well, because a lot of younger people are having kids now, so I see a lot of younger people out there, and I think that's big for people, and even me too. I'm thinking about having kids here in the future too, so it's just like that's good advice for everyone, you know. Um, Also, you mentioned your therapy. Um, what was it called? Like
It's
your
not therapy. You mean the fitness?
yes,
My fitness
the fitness program,
model.
the fitness program.
So my fitness model is R.G.T. It stands for Relearn, Growth, and Transformation. So the relearn is to catch the pattern of whatever is stopping you or preventing you from getting into health and taking care of
Mm.
your health and wellness. So catch the pattern, relearn. So change how your brain function, relearn how you see things, and the growth is growing from the bad pattern that you have and learning how to care for self. And the transformation is keeping up. So after you made the transformation, if it was weight loss, that's your thing, or strength, grow, like getting stronger. So
Mm.
after you have lost the weight, so you relearn, so you caught the pattern, why you eat, what your bad habits are. We break the pattern. So we relearn, we grow, we grew from that. We start working out, we start taking care of our mental, emotional, and physiological health. Okay, we're in a great place. We're no longer in fight or flight mode or depressive mode. We found equilibrium, both from a physiological and psychological perspective. Now the transformation have come. You got to your goal weight. You wanted to lose 100 pounds. No, you have lost 100 pounds. You wanted to gain muscle. No, you have gained that muscle. This is where the transformation comes, because this is where we have to maintain. And we're going to learn to maintain so we do not develop new bad habits or go back to the old habits.
Mm.
So that's kind of what that's about.
That's awesome.
Because that's what's missing from the fitness world. A lot of people come and say, hey, get 2 dumbbells and we can do this, or hey, do this, or get 2 kettlebells and we can do that,
Mm.
or go to the gym and you lose 100 pounds and then know what?
Right.
You no longer have a trainer. You're not going to pay a trainer your entire life. Know what? How are you going to maintain this by yourself? How are you going to stay at equilibrium by yourself? Or if life or stressors start happening and you shift out the equilibrium, and your coping habits, remember, you've been doing that for years. That's how you've been coping for years. You've only lost this weight or
Dang.
gained strength for a year or two. So what happened now when life is life in? How do you manage all of that? That's where the transformation come, and that's where I give you the tools and coping mechanism to make sure you stay on that fitness journey, not just temporarily, but a whole lifestyle change.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is actually insane. Like my mind is blown right now. That's really cool. I have never heard that. Never. And I've been into fitness. I was in high school. I was in the gym and stuff like that. And that just makes so much sense to like, because you're so right. You're not gonna have a trainer for forever, and not everyone can even have a trainer. So being able to not only learn but relearn different like coping mechanisms is so big. It's so big. That's great. That's really great. And being just having that self sufficiency is huge, because a lot of people, they look for the guidance, but they, like you said before, it's just like only you can get you. You know what I mean? At the end of the day.
So part of the growth section of it is learning to motivate self. That's part of the G. So it's R.G.T. The
Yeah.
growth is learning to be self motivated, because that's where we lack, is motivating ourselves. We depend on others to motivate us, and when we don't have the others to motivate us, we get discouraged and we stop, or we don't see the whatever our goal was, it's not happening, we get discouraged and we stop. But that motivation piece is missing. That consistency piece is missing. And a lot of people's like, oh, just be consistent, just be consistent. Consistency without motivation, without determination, and without work, actual work, is a waste of time.
Right.
I promise you, you still gonna fail.
Yep. Yep. That's awesome. And then even I always have the conversation recently with all the boys, but even taking those L's as like a lesson, you know, I think that's big. That's a big thing, and I think people need to learn how to do that. You know what I mean? Is not taking those L's as like a loss necessarily, but learning from those losses to get more wins.
Society keeps telling us that failing is a bad thing. No, when you fail, you learn. That's how you learn. If you always winning, what do you know? What experience do you take to the table? Because I can tell you personally, as a therapist and working in healthcare, if you're trying to tell an alcoholic to stop using alcohol, they're gonna like, how are you gonna give me advice that you never been an alcoholic? What do you tell them then?
Yeah, no, seriously, I wouldn't know because it's a struggle. I'm sure, you know.
And you're talking to somebody that has failed multiple times, that have said, I've succeeded this much, but I keep failing. How do I relearn? Because I drink because this is how I cope with life, right? So I can tell them I'm not an alcoholic, but I can tell you that you can train the brain.
Yes, you can.
100%. To wire a little bit different and to see life a little bit different. Because guess what? What the brain perceives and believes, the body follows and achieves.
I think it's big. A lot of people, we can even get into it a lot, like books. I read books too. I feel like books are so important, and it's just like there was a quote, I forgot what book it was from, but it was the gym is for physical health, and books and reading stuff, even reading stuff online, is like mental wealth. You know what I mean? In a way, like that knowledge is power. You know, so you know what I'm saying?
Oh, so, knowledge is always power.
Oh yeah.
I tell people all the time, if you offer me, if there was a way you could open my brain and give me vast knowledge about everything and anything and all things, or you offer me $1 billion, I'll take the knowledge, because that knowledge is going to turn that. I can make $1 trillion from that knowledge.
Right.
And you can keep your $1 billion.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. You can keep that small change, you know what I'm saying?
Because with the knowledge that I have and everything else, I'm going to make more than that $1 billion. Right?
That's awesome.
Quick. A lot of us want results now. And life doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
You have to take some losses, because losses is where that's where growth comes from. That's where learning comes from. And that's where businesses like Amazon and Apple, and not promoting anybody on here, like none of them, but I'm just giving an example. You talk to all these guys, I promise you, even the dude that owns Tesla, he has lost more than he has won. He's winning now. But you ask him how many times he has lost and how many times he has failed.
Oh, yeah.
He'll tell you that's what makes him great.
Right. No, 100%. Dang, that's awesome. And I was going to get into, because I guess in terms of like techniques, you know, it's hard relearning something than learning something, you'd say, right? Because you're breaking that old habit to try to start the new one, or what would you
It depends on how bad you want it.
Okay.
So it's more, first you have to admit there's an issue. Then you have to catch the pattern.
Okay.
Your response to every time there's a stressor, whether environmental, relationship, children, financial, all of the alleys, you name it, whatever it is, you have to catch that pattern, how you respond to stress.
Okay.
And once you can admit that there's an issue, and once you can see what the pattern is, it becomes easier to break the pattern.
Okay.
Because now you're mindful of what's happening.
Right. That's good. No, that's really good. So I guess to switch it up a little bit, you said you used to travel a lot. You probably still travel. What are some places you traveled to, and what are your favorite places you stayed?
I've been to a bunch of places as a kid. I'm not gonna name some of those, 'cause some of those I don't remember. Like my mom took me everywhere in all places,
No, that's
and
awesome.
I don't remember all of it.
Yeah.
But right now, I would say, and this is gonna sound lame, my favorite place is Hawaii right now.
Hawaii?
And then
Oh,
and
okay,
then
cool.
Canada is next because of all
Oh,
the family in
interesting.
Canada.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Hawaii.
Mm.
I
I love
want to go to
Hawaii.
Hawaii.
I love Hawaii. I love Hawaii. It's a Jamaica with all the American amenities.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
No, that's valid. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. So for Canada's interesting.
It's more because of family.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't left the country yet, but if I did go, I'd either go down to like Cabo or something like that, or I'd go to like places like Toronto, Montreal. Because I want to be a comedian, and comedy is huge up there. You know what I mean? Like in places like Montreal, they have the big convention. I forgot what it's called, but they have a big convention every year up there in Montreal, and it would be awesome just to be there for that. You know, because that's pretty big, and hopefully. Not trying to get political, but hopefully comedy comes back in those kind of places because they've been taking a lot of like that speech, you know, they've been putting people in jail for social media posts, so it's just like it's a little crazy right now, but hopefully it'll get a little
remember
better.
that saying, life is life in.
Life is life
in
in
for people.
Yeah,
Because
no, life is life in.
things like we're almost in the upside down universe right now, and people are trying to learn to navigate all this newness. Like everything is so different, and
Oh my gosh, that's
people
so
that you
true.
were okay with now, it's your political views is different from mine, or your spiritual views is different from mine. It's now all disagreement and arguments, and people aren't even getting along. But
Right.
yeah,
And then they were just people.
yeah,
We can have those different, and it's okay to have those differences, I'd say.
yeah.
You know,
I don't like people always agreeing with me. That makes life boring.
That's awesome.
And that doesn't challenge
Good.
my perspective on life. Somebody disagreeing with me, challenge my perspective on life and let me see things from a different way. Because my way is not always the right way. And I always tell my kids, if you're the smartest one in the room, you need to change your friends.
Interesting.
If you are the smartest one in the room at all time, you need to change your group.
Yeah.
Because no growth can happen from that.
Right.
You have to have
That's
a group
awesome.
of friends where you're strong in one area, somebody else is strong in another area, somebody else is strong in another area, and together you guys are unstoppable.
Boom. No, that's the greatest. That's the reason why I wanted you on right there. You know what I mean? Because that's so awesome. You say that because it's you can't, like, yes, you can do a lot of stuff by yourself, and this topic just comes up a lot, but you need a strong team, right?
Nobody makes it to the top on their own.
No, that's awesome. That is so cool.
And that's what's killing people, is this whole individualism.
Yes.
Nobody makes it to the top on their own. And again, we can go over all the richest people in America right now, from the Bezos to the Tesla. They all had their group.
Yes.
Amazon, Bezos will tell you that his whole family and friends invested in Amazon.
100%.
He couldn't have done it on his own.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Apple, you go through it, they'll tell you. You
Steve
have
Jobs,
to have, yes.
all them.
The one that owns Facebook. I'm not calling anybody's name because I'm not
Yeah,
promoting
no,
any product
yeah,
here.
no, true.
I'm just trying to make a point, guys.
Yes.
Like,
yeah, no, 100%.
but
100%.
you have to have your team, and there can't be jealousy. You have to be aware of, we're human. Jealousy is a natural feeling,
Yeah.
but you have to know how to cope with it and be like, okay, this is a negative feeling. I need to not feel this way. What can I do? How can I speak to my team so this feeling that I'm feeling, I can get rid of it? Because we're humans and we all feel some type of way. You know, everybody wants to succeed
100%.
and everybody feels some type of way sometime when, oh my God, this person is succeeding more than me or whatever. But don't look at it as the person is succeeding more than you. Look at it that my mom used to say, everybody make their dinner at a different time, you know, and this person, his dinner is prepared now and ready to eat, and you're preparing yours. So take your time, put all your spices, put all the love in it, and you'll get right there with them. And you know what? Maybe if they prepare their meal before you, they'll give you some. So you have even more meal.
Right.
So,
Right. No, that's
everybody takes something different to the table.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great advice to give. I was just gonna ask.
But
I
one
forgot.
backtracking though.
No, yeah, you're good.
I know I
Go for
said
it.
Toronto, Canada and Hawaii is two of my favorite places. Let me back that up.
Okay.
My favorite place in the entire world is Jamaica. Jamaica has a whole vibe by itself. So, and then immediately after to New York.
Oh, okay.
Then Hawaii and Canada.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, that's awesome.
It's like,
That's
I need to
valid.
back it up. Yeah.
No, that's valid. I've been to New York. The New York, the cuisine's the best out there. I like to
Best,
travel
best.
and eat
There
food.
is nowhere in America where you get better food than New York.
Yeah, because it's just like it's the most of the melting pot there.
It's authentic. If you
Yeah.
go to an Italian restaurant, it's gonna be Italian in that restaurant making the
Yes,
food.
they're gonna be snapping, making it
Mm-hmm.
snappy, the mozzarella and all
Mm-hmm.
that. Uh, I did enjoy the pizzerias the most out there because you got to
Great
see
pizza.
like a family, or someone or a generation of families,
Mm-hmm.
that's been there for a long time. It's so cool. It's so
Mm-hmm.
awesome. And you see all the old pictures from like the 50s and even the 40s. It's like, what? This place has been around
Mm-hmm.
for that long. It's insane. But yeah, I love New York too. I'll visit again, but um, yeah, no, traveling is the best.
Mm-hmm.
Recently I went to Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
and I have family that live down there in Atlanta. Actually, no, that's a lie. Recently I went to Texas, but before that I went to Atlanta, and just that trip was big for me because going to see Atlanta and the culture out there was awesome. With the music scene and just the
Atlanta's
whole.
a whole vibe.
And then even now, they're doing a lot of film stuff out there, so getting to see a whole bunch of like the studios, it's like, whoa, what the heck is going on in Atlanta?
Mm-hmm.
So it was really cool. And then yeah, Atlanta was fun.
A lot of culture,
Yes.
like rich culture. Like
Mm-hmm.
you see black and brown people like
Yeah.
doing their thing in Atlanta, and it
Yes.
empowers you.
Yes. No, seriously, it's
Yeah.
awesome. And my family's Puerto Rican, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's just like right there, and I'm so excited to kind of get down there. And I've never been to Florida. I want to go to Florida bad, but
No, you're not missing anything.
yeah.
That's one of my least favorite, but I get it.
Okay, cool. Duly noted then. No.
The ocean is nice. Don't get me wrong. They have
Yeah.
good food, but you ain't missing
Right. Yeah. No, for sure. It's just a little on the wild side.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of I don't have any questions. So this is kind of the part of the podcast where it's just like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we can go back to how has starting social media, like, because I'm not sure how good, like how great you are in getting into the social media, but
So prior to 6 months ago, because I think I've started social media about 5-6 months ago, I was not a social media person.
yeah.
I did not post. I did not write anything.
Right.
I thought social media was annoying.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I
people
get
that
it.
posting all the time.
Yeah, I get it.
So when I first started out, all my friends like were, "Are you okay?"
Yeah.
Because it was kind of unusual. It was super unusual for me to put myself out on social media. But social media started out for me there's three real things behind my social media. One, it was started for my older son. Two, it was started as my means of giving back.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to
okay.
do individual therapy right now. I'm not doing individual therapy right now. But I still think I need to share the knowledge I have. I still need to educate people on what's happening. I still need to
Yeah.
help people put a name or put an idea to what, or help them to understand the symptoms that they're going through.
There we go.
We live in
That's awesome.
Idaho. We have one of the highest suicidal rates here, and people are starting to. I'm not just talking Idaho, just in general, because when you watch the news, you see it.
Right.
People are normalizing depression
Yes.
and normalizing stress, and you can't learn to cope with something that you've normalized because that you have told yourself that this is my reality.
Right.
And this is how I'm going to live. It's never going to change.
Mm-hmm.
And don't get me wrong, we're not here to fix anything. We're just here to tell people how to help people navigate and learn to cope with whatever
Right.
they're going through, and let them know that, hey, whatever that happened in the past, we can't go back in the past. We can't fix the past, but we have some control on the now, and we can help the now determine the future in a positive way.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's perfect.
So yeah, so that's what kind of drew me to social media.
Cool.
But positive content don't get a lot.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
No, that's crazy.
Positive content is not welcome too much on
That's
social
so interesting
media.
you bring that up.
Yeah.
You do see a lot of more negativity than positivity, and maybe that's just like Damn, because it's different in different countries. In different countries, they definitely push more of the positive stuff rather than the negative.
Yeah.
But that is true.
And
You
you
get less.
stroll through social media and
Yeah.
you can see all the problems, and you're sitting there. But this is why I started my page. You know, if you
Right.
go over to my page, you might learn something.
We gotta
and it
fight
might have
back.
some of this, but
Yeah.
no, but
No, that's
positivity is
interesting.
boring.
Right. No, that's interesting. I guess it's just it goes back to like that interaction, like what's gonna be more interactive. Well, you know, a lesson or someone fighting or something. You know what I mean? Like there's gonna be a lot of comments and stuff like that. Rather on the fighting video rather than like the person trying to teach something, right?
But yet still, we're all looking for equilibrium and happiness.
Yes, I think that equilibrium
that's the
is good.
contradiction. Negativity gets a lot of views. Negativity get a lot of a push. Yet still, we all want to be happy. We all want to find equilibrium. We all want to be successful, and we all want to be great and be the best version of ourselves.
Yeah.
But when you're giving them the tools to do that, it's not receptive. People don't reciprocate to it.
Yeah, reciprocate.
So
yeah. That's valid.
It's an interesting one.
It's valid.
Yeah.
And okay, I guess I was gonna say this. You kind of see where the culture's at, going through social media in a way. And I used to be a little pessimistic. You can even go back and check. I used to be a little pessimistic back in the day, but now I'm feeling more optimistic about the future, just because I see a lot of people, people are changing, and that's, I think, at least in my opinion, I think people are changing. I've been seeing recently people, starting new businesses. I mean, even me, like I started this new business, and I see other people starting new businesses, like reselling clothes or just, anything now. And that's cool. I think it's like, there's almost like a new renaissance, if you will. So I think it's awesome.
It's funny because I think everything changes and everything remains the same. People are always looking for love, happiness, joy, equilibrium, and again, becoming the best version of themselves. It's just that it looks different for everybody, and we separate and we say, oh, because I'm African American, this is what it looks like, or because I'm white, this is what it looks like, or whatever other culture,
Right.
Asian or whatever.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we're all seeking the same thing.
Right.
So it's not that you're not, or that you were pessimist. You say you were a pessimist.
Pessimistic, yeah. Like I was
it
a
was
little
because
negative.
it's your young brain.
True.
And you were seeing all the negativity that was fed into your brain. So you started perceiving the world that way. Remember that quote I used earlier? What the brain perceive and believe, the body follow and achieve.
Ooh, there we go.
So you're getting older, and your environment is changing, and you're seeing things from a different perspective. So you're starting to believe. So you're starting to act in a different way.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I guess that could be a good place to end it. It's already been like 45 minutes, which is crazy, right? Usually these freaking go by so fast, and I would go on for another hour, but don't want to take too much of your time. So
it's okay.
Yeah,
we could do a part 2 another time.
Yes. So yeah, thank you for coming on. If you did have any like last words, now would be the time. But thank you so much. This has been a really big learning experience for me, and I'm sure a lot of other people too.
Yeah, my only last word is get up every day and strive to be the best version of you. Age is a number. Don't listen to society. Oh, you're young, you have your whole life ahead of you. Oh, you're young, so you don't have. You're young, you have the strength now. You have the capability now. You have good health now. Build from that.
Awesome.
I don't get the whole let's wait till we're 40 or 50 to start doing what you should have been doing when you're younger. Don't get me wrong. Enjoy your life.
Yeah.
But have an aspiration. Have long-term goals. Have short-term goals. And keep tweaking it. Keep working at it. And keep believing in yourself. And keep striving to be the best version of you. You're going to change. Things are going to change. The environment is going to change. You have no control on it. But you do have control on your outcome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much again, Paula. Yet again, guys, thank you so much for being here. And yeah, what the fuck is going on?
Life.
Life.